especially sa HIV topics, awareness, I always believe that it should be really focused also in community-based approach.
So how can we, lift up this stigma?
Stigma is so difficult. You have to fight it at the upper level and even to the lower. At all levels of in the community, you really have to fight stigma. So it's as an advocate, sometimes if I cannot win everyone, at least I can win one.
True.
That's really nice.
Siguro, this is happening. It's because there's that fear of, if we talked about this, then we are promoting immorality and sex everywhere.
Paano ba talaga napapasa yung HIV virus?
Yes, sex is just the one way.
Oo.
Pero kapag pinag-uusapan yung HIV, doon na ma-magnify. Kasi alam mo naman yung mga tao, pag naririnig nila sex, malaking mata nila.
Yung stigma, it comes from, siguro immoral ito. Siguro, this person have sex everywhere, kaya nagka-HIV.
Yeah. And sex is just one way. It's just that maraming taong gumagawa ng mga outside the marriage, unprotected and risky behavior yung tao.
It really depends much on how you also take care of your body.
Yeah.
Diba?
Exactly.
But in one way or another, if you have the virus, whether you're living a healthy lifestyle or not, it could still lead to AIDS.
Yeah.
If not treated, right?
One thing na dapat ding ma-remember ng mga ka-journey watching us is that when you do the testing, it's totally 100 million %. No, hindi lang 100%, 100 million % confidential.
Yeah.
Kasi pwedeng makulong ang taong
Yes, there's a law.
nagkakalat, na-share even wrong information.
Why should we get tested? May
Oo nga.
criteria ba para magpa-test? I mean, is it important for me to get tested? Everyone ba are required to get tested?
Well, number one, if you do not do risky behavior, then you don't need to get tested. When I say risky behavior, unprotected sex. Sample yan. And as long as, yun nga, hindi mo ginagawa yung mga ways kung paano matatransmit or makukuha. You don't do drugs. You don't do any risky behavior. Of course, no, you don't need to get tested. However, even if one doubt ka, or feeling ko ano yun, ay hindi kasi please, ay kiss lang yun. Ganon. Kapag doubt ka sa person, kasi yung person nga most likely baka meron din siyang multiple sexual contacts, then you should really get tested. But here's the catch. Kung ilan sila, ganun din. So si January, iti-test mo siya January, February, March, April, May, June. So the 6 months window period. Yung January mo, sa June pa siya madidetect ng screening test. Kung meron ka namang unprotected sa February at sa March, iba din yun sila. Kakount ka naman ng ilang months
na
for the window period of that.
Kasi, yung palang window period, just baka na hindi nakaintindihan.
Yes.
Window period kasi, a virus does not, you will not, detectable pa, basta maliit pa siya sa body mo.
Correct.
Konti pa siya maliit.
Maliit talaga yung virus.
But because virus multiply, so pag mag-multiply na sila, yun pa yung detect na siya in laboratory.
Correct.
Kaya nga, may window period na may time pa sila mag-multiply, tsaka pa sila ma-detect.
So it can be readable sa test.
Oo.
Yeah.
So, example, if I have unprotected sex today, after about 6 months, yun pa ma-detect.
So yun talaga 6 months ang window period. I
That's-
heard
that's
some says
3.
3 months.
Yeah, may 3, but the 6 is the pinakamatagal na.
Pero if I have this, and then after 6 months or 3 months, nagpa-test ako, and then before that, may unprotected sex ako, still, yun, that's another test na naman.
That's another test. Correct.
If hindi ka na-infected dito, baka doon ka na-infect.
So the best advice would be get tested every 3 months if you're sexually active. And if you have multiple partners.
Risky behaviors and
Kung
all that.
risky behavior ka talaga, you should really have a regular test.
Yes.
Yes.
May iba din kasi, which I know of, na they have singular partner, but they didn't know that their partner pala have
Have also multiple.
multiple
Actually,
partners.
yan, meron kami mga cases sa ganyan na
Umiiyak yun.
babae.
Oo.
Oo, nag-positive siya, pero yun pala nakuha niya sa kanyang husband na may maraming unprotected sexual partners.
So, if you have doubts, you can have yourself tested.
Yes.
So since we've talked about transmission, treatment, and all, well, I think the next question would be, what's the best way to prevent? Kasi prevention is better than cure.
Yes, prevention is better than cure, at ulit-ulitin ko pong sinasabi to sa lahat ng aking mga community advocacies that A, B, C, D. Actually, dinagdagan ko na ng E before. So A, number 1, it's really abstinence, no? Yung sabi ko kanina, the sex outside marriage is not good. Sex inside marriage is okay, right? So abstain, wait, no? Kung kaya mong i-delay, you wait for the right person, you wait for the right moment, okay? And for the right time. And then letter B is be faithful with your partner. Kung hindi mapigilan, no? Well, of course, you have to make sure that your partner is also faithful with you.
That's the problem. Faithful ako. Paano yung partner ko?
Exactly. That's why
yung marriage may some security kasi you vowed to be faithful to each other.
Yes, exactly. And that's one thing talaga din kapag may nagpapatest sa amin, na kapag siya, we also encourage the other person or yung mga naging partners yan na magpa-test din. And letter C is, of course, the correct use of condom. That's why proper education sa mga tao na pwede nang gumamit ng condom. Yung mga pwede na. Okay? And then, of course, letter D, don't do drugs. Okay? And of course, letter E, encourage regular testing para doon sa mga sexually active talaga.
So speaking of, since we talked about risky behavior, so what is safe sex?
Okay. Sex education. Okay.
Yeah. But this is not Maka Journey. This is not to promote na promiscuity or what. This is to educate everyone. So, kasi totoo talaga na maraming tao na hindi alam what is safe sex.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they go through this risky behavior kasi they don't know what safe is. Diba? So,
I don't know kung tama ba yung pagkakasabi ko today, but I think this is a part of your what I call this, of your journey, no, in providing what I call this information sa community. I think the safe sex is the sacred sex ordained by the church. Kumbaga,
within the institution of
within the
marriage.
institution. I don't know if that's the proper terming. That's the safe sex because that's sex that is allowed between you and another person. Because anything outside
that,
marriage
risky siya.
is risky. Okay,
True.
kung wala kang sakit na makukuha, sakit sa ulo. Kasi kabit, magkakabuntis. Diba? Hindi mo matatapos yung ano mo or masasaktan ka. Kasi binigay mo yung lahat sa isang tao tapos hindi pala ikaw may end up, diba? So that's the safest sex. Siguro in this context, I should say.
Kasi ang iba, they go through, sexual adventures. Should I say? Siguro, I'm comfortable talking about sex kasi kahit single ako, kahit wala akong experience. Kasi, because I'm a nurse. Para, pang nurse ka, parang walang tabu na topic, di ba? Because you meet a lot of people with diseases and all this. So, many people go through this risky behavior, even if they know that there's a chance for them to be infected. Kasi, it's the adventure of it, right? I mean, let's face it, sex is pleasurable. So, they don't know.
But, let's just clarify by saying that to a friend that sex is pleasurable.
I mean,
yung mga nabasa mo, and
yes,
mo,
nalala ko.
because you are not sexually active.
I mean, because in my perspective, God has created sex. It's pleasurable, it's holy. For me, it's holy. Kaya I do not engage into it kasi wala pa akong husband and because I know what God is intending it for me to do. That's why some religious community is my hard time sila to let people understand where do we stand on it na holy yung sex kaya hindi natin pag-usapan.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think if we do not talk about it, how about those people who are
Come on,
already suffering?
yeah.
Diba?
Risky behaviors are already doing this because for them, parang bawal kasi. So, I go this kan kasi
We'll just not
adventures.
talk about it because it's a
This is
taboo.
why I like to talk about it. This is why I like to talk about it because I will tell those young people, I will tell them, yes, sex is pleasurable, but it is more pleasurable when you have it in safe within marriage.
So since we're talking about it, itatanong ko na,
Ah,
how safe is condom? When protecting you
may
from
kulay. Yung iba kasi yung condom ginagawa nilang trophy. Nilalagay lang nila sa kanilang wallet. At saka, di ba? And of
Kasi
course,
they think pampaswerte daw yun eh. So,
ang dami. Yeah, I do have condoms, no? I do have condoms because every time that I have the opportunity to talk, I have something to give, right? Because of course, me also sa public health, kailangan may software and hardware ka, no?
Kami din sa when we have our duty in the community, we have condoms, you know.
Yeah. But how safe the condom? It's not 100%.
True.
No?
True.
It's not 100% that number one, it will protect you from pregnancy. Number two, it's not 100% that it will protect you from any other STIs, no? Kasi merong mga STIs, it's body to body din.
Yes.
Right? So basically, the condom will protect you from the fluids, but will not protect you from the behavior. Because if you keep doing it over and over and over, and you add other risky behaviors, guys, hindi lang po risky behavior yung pinag-uusapan ko dito. Ka-journey, hindi lang po yung sex yung risky behavior. Included po doon yung pag-drink ng alcohol. Going with friends who will not give you good influence.
True.
Those are risky behavior. You go to a place na hindi mo, I mean, hello, you don't go inside a club, you go out there, tapos naging ano ka na, di ba?
True.
So that's going to party, nightclubs, that's a risky behavior.
True.
Because the moment you expose yourself to the people, it will really influence you.
True.
For the first, wala kang risky behavior. Second, third, fourth, fifth, to the 10th, meron ka na, and you don't even know that you did it 4 times, 5 times na pala. So that's the risky behavior. And that's one thing also na gusto kong i-advocate, that sex is just part of one aspect of a relationship.
True.
Because people think na pag may relasyon ako, napakalaki, 90% sex, 10% date, mga ganun. May ganyan kasi mga kabataan ngayon.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
When we talk about this in young people, parang that's how they think.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Yeah, where in fact, it should be kapag bata ka ngayon, no? You're very young, and then you had a relationship, sex is still post-dated check kapag mapakasal mo na siya, right?
Post-dated.
But it talks about your self-boundaries. It's talk about, socialization, getting to know the person and getting to know yourself. It talks about your dreams and aspiration. Ito ba talaga yung taong gusto ko? Right? So it's one big spectrum. Pero yung iba kasi, gusto na nilang i-withdraw na hindi pa i-withdraw. I-cash advance na nila, which is very wrong. Sex kasi na-magnify in any relationship.
Promoted din kasi ng media yung sex na parang that's the point of a relationship.
sensationalized.
Correct. Kaya ako, I really encourage kapag may mga boyfriend, girlfriend, kasi hindi naman talaga maiwasan, no? Minsan talaga nagkakaroon sila ng relationship, you open up to your family, to senior, to people who give advices to you para nag-guide talaga ng tama.
True. Para yung maiwasan yung mga risky behavior.
Yes.
So let's say, since we talked about risky behavior, palagay natin, talagang risky yung behavior ng person, and then, doubtful siya sa naging sexual partner niya. What can I do, if ever, if that happens to me? Or to anyone else, what can he or she do?
Look for your nearest counselor or nearest testing center and then connect. Do not be afraid. Mas matakot ka sa moment na hindi na kaya ng
Bagsak na
katawan
yung
mo
katawan.
at tinakbo ka sa hospital.
Yeah.
That's the scariest one. Kesa ikaw muna yung, kasi if this is the process, I will go for a counselor. The counselor will counsel me. I will take the screening test. If I am positive, it will go for confirmatory test, and the result, even if it's negative or positive, hindi counselor ang magbabasa niyan. Ikaw yung unang makakabasa. And then after that, you will be counseled, and then you will seek for your medical health professionals. And then after that, dun maiikot yung buhay mo. Yun yung parang proseso, no, na you will understand na ganito pala, no, that that's the first thing that I should do is accept it. Oo. That I will not move away from it. Because the moment I move away from it, the more na magkakaroon ako ng problema.
Itong question ko for Randy kasi when when I have already doubts na may HIV talaga siya. Parang alam ko na may HIV to. So I was pushing
Basing sa
him.
symptoms.
Hindi ka lang judgmental.
I was
Basing sa
pushing him and
symptoms.
trying to push him to be tested. Galit na galit siya. Every time I remind him of to go testing. Why is that?
Kasi gusto ko na galing sa akin yung willingness.
Yeah.
I felt like I've been being pushed. Although, yeah, I admit, mini-misinterpret ko yung kindness mo and yung concern mo sa akin. But, open for
Well, of course, podcast.
Pero, siguro, hindi ko lang nakita yung value. Na I was just like, so self-centered na hindi ko nakita yung value. And this I realized, Sir Al, na to be tested is an act of selflessness. Kasi, if you don't have yourself get tested, and then, all of a sudden, nagka-complications ka, mas malaki yung problem. Hindi lang ikaw magkakaproblema, even your loved ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone is affected. And I think that is very selfish. Kasi, dun ka nakafocus sa fear. Hindi mo naisip, you are too blinded to see the people who loves you, and who values you. And when somebody is encouraging you to get tested, I think we should thank them. Because these are the people who are really concerned of our health.
Exactly. And that is why when you try to go to the open, get out of the door, it would really help that there is really a very strong support system.
Oo, that's why it's also healthy for an HIV positive person to open up to their family or to their, if hindi safe yung family na some of us may not have a good, healthy family, dynamics.
Yeah.
So, to those safe people that they will find support kasi we do not live alone. We are in a community. So, if you're positive, have some people around you that supports you. Importante yun. That's why, then, pag there's counseling, right? Part din sa counseling, di ba, na dapat sila may support system. It's important also that I hope you found yung mga nagpapatest at saka yung positive na you have your support system. Importante talaga yun. Kasi some people na hindi strong yung support system nila, they do like parang medical suicide na I would not be treated, I will not submit to treatment even if I know my symptoms na ako lang HIV kasi parang no one cared for me naman eh. So, okay lang. So, that's why it's really important for us, ako na so far wala naman akong risky behavior. So, we can support those who may have risky behavior or who may already have HIV na to be their support system.
Exactly.
And then also to advocate others to be tested. Wag tayong wag yung hush na lang. Magpa-test ka.
Yeah.
Go! Pa-test!
Correct.
If they want someone to be with them during testing, find time to be with them during testing. Kasi some of them are scared to go in the hub. Baka, anong sabihin kasi nandito ako, positive na ako.
Baka i-chisme.
Baka i-chisme. So, ako sabi ko, punta tayo. I don't care what people may think. But nandito yan, positive yan. I don't care. So, whatever, if they think I'm positive because I'm there, I'm just with someone who I'm supporting, don't care.
So,
pero, it's
paano
nice.
pag nag-positive? No? What are the kind of support and help that is out there
Yeah.
if somebody becomes positive?
Yeah, so meron tayong mga treatment hubs. So these treatment hubs provide medications for
Is
free.
it for free?
For free. Yes, so they have access to the medications for free. Although there are some, depende kasi kung mayroon ka mga presenting symptoms, tapos hindi available that time, no? Sometimes
Sometimes yung mga antibiotics,
So,
yung
yeah.
hindi siya free, di ba? Yung
may mga
yung
part.
main HIV na meds na antiretroviral drugs, free siya. Pero some treatments like prophylaxis for infection, all that,
Yes, exactly.
hindi siya free kasi
Not always.
Yeah,
oo,
and it
not always
depends
available.
for case-to-case basis naman. But at least that you can say that there is a service that is very accessible.
Oo.
We call it treatment hubs. I think you can just Google it and then makikita mo
Pero
kung
free
ano.
yung talaga yung main medication for HIV. Free
Yes.
talaga yun.
Yes, at it's something that people should really understand. At gusto ko lang idagdag bago mawala sa isip ko that yun nga, it's not the risky, eto nga, where does risky behavior happens? Risky behavior happens when you have risky relationship with others and to yourself.
True, because if you do not see anything of value sa sarili mo, like for us Christians, I always tell them, our value is what Christ has done for us. Parang He gave Himself for us. That's how valuable we are.
Yeah.
So, if knowing that value for yourself, you now know that if I am valuable, then I would not go into this risky behavior because I'm loved. I'm valuable. So, if many, as I say, especially young people who engage in this risky behavior because they do not find value sa sarili nila. And even some of them have gone through abuse, like Randy, nakaano siya sa abuse for others. Kasi, parang ang abuse kasi, they strip you off of your dignity. Kahit hindi mo naman kasalanan. Pero, dapat yung abuser. Pero, that's how sometimes our mind self-destruct. You know? That we think we are not of value kasi I have been abused before. So, that's why they go through these risky behaviors. So, I think it's really important also to understand what drives this risky behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
But why am I doing these risky behaviors? Para pag makita mo siya, ma-address mo. So, especially for young people talaga, to see their worth. Para they do not go through that.
Yeah. I'm curious lang din, as a family member, since we all know some that are close to our heart that also have been going through the same situation. As a family member, pag may nag-HIV positive sa family, what can I do as a family member?
Well, number one is usually nagsastruggle yan sila.
True.
Kasi they have to accept the person. And number two, they have to accept it that they have a family member. It's two different things. Kasi yung family member, that's pangalan ng pamilya nakataya.
Oh, concept
Oo.
of Pinoy, di ba?
Yeah, that's Pinoy, di ba? Malalaman ni papa, ni mama, di ba?
Ng
Papalayas. But if I am a family member, the first thing I should do is number one, I should start accept the fact na meron talagang things that is beyond my control. At yun, nangyari na yun, is not my fault. But I have the power to help.
True.
Right? If I am in the position to be kind and to help, I will just help. Because the only thing para mas matuwid yung isang tao, lalo na kapag humingi ng tulong sa'yo, is that for you to support the person. Because that's the least thing you can do as a person here on earth, to help and to be kind to a person who is needing one. Lalo na kapag lumapit sa naghingi ng tulong. And support comes in many ways. It could be just being there. Doesn't need kailangan financially. Just to be, you offer prayer. You tell that you validate the person's feeling. You provide support. And you provide also other, not only material things. That's the beginning. Kasi ang tao naman na PLHIV, siya lang din naman talagang makakaangat sa kanya. Pero para siya makaangat, kailangan mo na may magbigay ng lubid. paano kung walang magbigay, di ba? So, gagawa ka ng lupit na sarili mo. Oo, kasi may mga cases talagang ganyan. I have this one case na nahihirapan siya because in the family, they know that he is PLHIV at yung mother lang niya yung nagkikare sa kanya. Pero yung mother niya is super tanda na. So, ngayon, it worries him a lot kung paano. And I should say na, wag mong pilitin yung mga taong nasa loob mo. You try to check kung may iba ka pang connect na yung iba na pwedeng mag-influence sa kanila kung hindi ikaw. So, baka may auntie ka na may makakatulong pa. So anyway, yun lang gusto kong sabihin that as family kasi tayo, typical tayo Pinoy, 'di ba? We always stand for everyone.
Also for a family member, may grieving stage din ng family member
Yeah.
Kasi if you know that somebody you love, especially a member of your family, having HIV, nag-grieve ka rin. You have that fear, baka I lost this person. Kasi HIV, you can lose this person. Secondly, you also have some anger. Why? Why do you have this?
Bakit mo ginawa yun?
Yes.
Bakit mo pinabayaan yung sarili mo?
True.
Hindi ka namin pinalaking ganyan. Very common ang mga linyang naririnig ko.
So, may grieving stage dun. So, for those PLH na mga persons, understand also that some family members may go through grieving stage na parang may denial stage pa sila, may anger, may bargaining. I hope they go through acceptance na they will actually support those persons who have living with HIV. Diba? Kasi at the end of the day, they are still your family member.
Exactly.
And then you'll grieve if you actually lost them, like if they die. So,
at saka kailangan yung grieve. Proseso yan, kailangan mo talagang gawin yun. Kasi once pipigilan mo, it will cause more troubles.
So, for those people na ng HIV, nag-test ng HIV tapos nag-positive, tapos they tell their families na positive sila, tapos their family acted na not what you expect to be so supportive. Understand also that some families are really actually toxic, pero some family members may be actually caring, but they just go through grieving stage. So they have lost. It may not be physical loss kasi nandyan ka pa, but they have those fears that they will lose you, that they have baka silang sisisihan o bang ginawa namin para magkaganyan ka, and all that. Understand also that these family members are going through grieving process. But I hope that they have the maturity to actually go through acceptance na to be supportive.
Yeah, and I think we're already down to the last part of our podcast. And it's sad kasi I really enjoyed talking with you, Sir Al. And this has been a very engaging conversation. So, in this last part, I have two questions. First is that, how are we gonna protect the younger generation when we talk about HIV awareness?
Yes. So, number one is that we can protect the generation by providing them the correct information. I always say that. Correct information meaning an information that is up to them. Apt, I mean, yung bagay sa kanila, naaakma sa kanila. Yung impormasyon na hindi sila matatakot bagkus sila pa ay magtatanong at magtatanong sila sa mga tamang tao, which is number one, their family. So, to educate the younger generation is to educate kung sino yung mga nagpapalaki sa kanila, and that's the family. That's the mothers and fathers. That is why kapag meron ako mga HIV, sabi, pag ini-invite ako sa school, lalo na kapag mga high school, ma'am, pwede PTA po muna ako?
True.
O sa PTA po muna ako. Kasi yung PTA po, sila yung, anak, may schedule kayong seminar next month, ha? Makinig ka doon. Kasi the information comes from the mother and the father of the family. Nakaakma kasi yan sa values hindi ko alam anong mga values ng each families, right? So, that's one thing that I always say, correct information anchored to the values of every individuals or families. In that way, we can protect them. Because the moment they don't know, that's the problem.
And you know what? I really asked this question because with the power of internet nowadays
Super.
and our gadget and social media, misguided, young people
Yeah.
can really add up to the risky behavior that we're
Exactly.
talking about. Diba?
Exactly.
And it's very rampant, to be honest.
Grabe.
Very rampant
Mhm.
nowadays, especially in the younger generation.
Mhm.
So, second question naman, Sir Al.
Sure.
In your experience ba, as an advocate, how does the religious community help in your HIV advocacy?
Mhm.
And how significant would be their involvement?
Actually, that's a very relevant question. Kasi sometimes, minsan, may mga religious groups, I'm not saying, that minsan sila yung nahihirapang mag-digest ng information na yan. Right? So, they are very relevant to my advocacy because sila yung maraming pwedeng gamitin na reasons why you should not do that. Let's say abstinence. Di ba nasa Bible yan?
Oo, yeah.
That you should wait until marriage. Right? Be faithful with your partner. Di ba? Nasa Bible yan that you have to be faithful with your partner. So the first two things, even sa na ginagamit namin for educating the community, is nakaakma din yan sa mga values and sa mga principles and anong tawag dyan, ma'am?
Religious community.
Biblical
Principles.
biblical principles kasi nakaakma talaga dyan. Eh. Doon naman nakaakma lahat ng ating mga values sa buhay natin. So I believe so. It is very important na maganda ang kanilang involvement, na kusa silang maging open, not to talk about sex, but to talk about protecting the younger generation. Kung hindi nila kayang pag-usapan yung mga na-involve na, pag-usapan natin yung mga mai-involve pa, and by providing them with the correct information. Because from school, bahay, simbahan, that's perfect.
True.
Right? Kasi kung sa school, just imagine, a person, may tanong, hindi makapunta sa simbahan, hindi makapunta sa bahay, hindi makapunta sa school, kasi lahat may stigma and taboo. And where does the person go? Syempre, doon lang din siya sa taong gumagawa ng ganon.
Oo, true.
Right?
Diba?
And then later on, na-influensyahan siya ng mga risky behavior. That's my personal point of view. So yeah, I think the religious institutions, sect, and groups, and other affiliated to religion should also promote and talk this more openly.
Hindi yung i-swept under the floor na lang para hindi na natin pag-usapan.
Yeah, the elephant in the room.
Oo.
You know, while you were sharing that, sir, na-remember ko din how the olden times, and
Olden times again.
the olden times talaga, the biblical times,
Uh-huh.
na how they treat people with leprosy. Before they are an outcast.
Yeah.
No? Like, unlike today na it's very treatable, di ba? But before they're an outcast, they've been sent out of the city. They're not allowed to mingle with other people. And if you put the same scenario here, now in the modern times, may ganong feeling if you are an HIV positive. Kasi may ganong feeling na if you don't have all this knowledge and this awareness, you felt like you are an outcast. And you don't know how to fit in. Kasi you don't know if you'll be accepted, and if baka pandirihan ka, and you're also, I have a lot of fears in life.
Exactly.
Diba? And it really made an impact. And if I'm going to reflect about it, how Jesus dealt with the lepers, he was not afraid to go near them, and he even touched them.
Yeah.
So, for me as a believer, in this perspective of a believer, I think it's high time na it's long been delayed, overdue, na we address this. Not everywhere, not just in the secular world, not just in the school, but even in the religious community. Because that's being inclusive. And we are like as modern Christians, we have to live like Jesus Christ. Now, we don't outcast anyone, but we become intentional and personal to them to the point to even, have a relationship with them. Na Jesus touched them, then let's touch their lives as well.
Para sa akin doon, then, for me lang when I was thinking about this, some people may not have the support system of their family nor friends. It is my dream that churches, religious community should have been that support system if they do not have that in their life. Kasi, biblically, we are called to, to be like Jesus. Heal the sick, bound those that are, free those that are bound in chain, mga ganun. We talked a lot of this inside the church. But many times, we don't, as in the religious community, we don't do this often. To be a safe place, once again, to be a safe place for people who are struggling. Without judgment, without prejudices, let's talk about this, let's reach out to them, let's be a safe place na, you can come to us. We will support you in your treatment and whatever. It's not always monetary, but be there for the person. Hello, ka-Journey. Journey in Islam would like to hear from you.
If you want to suggest topics that you want us to discuss in our podcast, feel free to contact us on our social media accounts. Let's journey together!
If you find this video helpful in your life's journey, click, share, like, and subscribe to Journey in His Love on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify.